What's going on, guys? Bit of a long time no see. I think we're looking at close to 2.5 months since my last video or update, and I wanted to fire up the camera, see if I couldn't catch you guys up just a little bit. But on the subject of video updates, some of you may know that I was doing those just about every week or so for a pretty good little stretch there. And then I just kind of stopped all of a sudden. That was mostly intentional. I got to looking at the channel and kind of thinking about things. And as far as I'm concerned, or my opinion was that things were getting just a little bit too redundant as well as lopsided. While I do want the channel to be about what's going on at Riley Knife and Tool and things I'm working on, I also want my content to be a little bit more informative or educational, or what I would consider, useful content. Things like tutorials and shop tips, machining and knife related content, and this, that, and the other, and just uploading updates on what I'm working on or still working on every single week. It's just really not cutting it for me, and I doubt for anybody else either. So I wanted to kind of start spreading that out a little bit fewer and farther between, be a little less constant on the updates. And while I don't necessarily want to wait as long as I currently have been between updates, 2 months, 2.5 months, I don't necessarily want to be filming them every week either. So I'm going to dial that back. Maybe I'll just do updates after a project is finished, or maybe as I'm starting, somewhere in the middle, somewhere at the end, just depending on what it is. I'm going to kind of play it by ear, but the weekly updates, they're probably going to go away for the meantime, and I'm going to see if I can be a little bit more intentional about other types of content. So we'll see how that goes. I'm just kind of playing it by ear, like I said, for a little while here, and we'll see what shakes out. But that's all I want to say about that. As far as what I have been working on these last 2.5 months, I've actually got a number of different projects going on, a few of which I'm not sure I even have mentioned yet in any of my previous updates. I've got a few kitchen knives I'm working on. Still working on some slip joint builds. I got a few new tools here and there, nothing super major. I did build a new quench tank. And if you guys follow my Instagram, you may be familiar with some of this already. Which, by the way, if you're wanting to follow me most consistently from day to day, week to week, project to project, go ahead and follow my Instagram page at Riley Knife and Tool. Where you'll probably stand the best chance of keeping up to date with what I'm doing. I tend to upload there a little bit more often than anywhere else. But I did recently build a new quench tank. This one's got a digital PID controller for bringing it up to temp for that lower threshold of the quenchant, which I think I've got it set actually a little bit higher than the lowest recommended range, about 80 to 100 degrees or so. And that just allows me to get it ready, as my shop is normally a little bit cooler than that. So it's got a heating element in there. It's controlled and monitored by the PID. And then once I bring it up, then it's good to go. I can start quenching. And as my temperature rises, I can also keep an eye on that so that I'm not going above the working threshold. And if need be, I can put a fan on it or cool it back down or wait for it to cool. And it's just much better and much more controllable than what I had before. Now, I am somewhat considering adding a circulating pump to this eventually to kind of help, keep that temperature even and circulating. I may even add an oil cooler if I start doing more and more knives to where I think I'm going to be heating it faster than I'm using it, if that makes sense. But for now, it's still leaps and bounds better than anything I had before. It actually holds quite a bit more. This is about a 2.5 gallon tank. I've got a little dust cover here, to keep dust and debris out. Oil's up to there. Got a probe halfway down and out of the way. And it's just a really nice upgrade for the shop to go with my relatively new heat treat oven that I built a while back. So that's one thing. I did get a new welder. Actually, while I was welding up that quench tank, I burned up my old MiG 100, which for now I've shoved under that bench. I need to just throw it out. I don't know if I'm really interested in trying to fix it or not. Still kind of debating that if I want to spend any more time or money on it. Something burned up on it though. I think maybe the capacitors might have went bad or dried out on it. I had converted it to DC electronegative, which involved adding a couple capacitors and a rectifier. The rectifier seems like it's still okay, but whenever I try to feed the wire to strike an arc, it just spatters and sputters all over. It has zero penetration, and it's just not getting the current that I was previously getting. So I'm kind of leaning towards a bad capacitor, but I really didn't put any more time or effort into it, nor did I really feel like I needed to. I got on Facebook Marketplace, picked this bad boy up for about 80 bucks, and I really couldn't be happier. Now, it is a 220 unit, so I can't just plug it in anywhere, but I do have plenty of 220 access in the shop here. I even built a 25-foot extension cord out of some SO cable. It's coiled up over there next to the outlet. So I can still take this just about anywhere in the shop that I'm going to need it, even out into the driveway if necessary to start welding on things. And it's more power. It's a much higher quality welder. Same brand, but much better made. It holds larger spools, which is nice. I can get a 10-pound roll of flux core wire. Or if I want to, it's even MIG capable. It does have accommodations for a gas tank. I need to get the tank and the regulator, of course, but if I want to start welding stainless, I can get some Trimix, or if I even want to just keep on welding mild steel, I can get some argon or even CO2, I believe, and hook it up to that. But as far as I'm concerned, whatever I've been welding on, flux core has always been just fine. So I'm going to keep with that for a while. It's a little bit easier to use, without having to worry about keeping your gas bottles charged up and swapped out and this and that. So we'll see. I may upgrade in the future, but for now, it's still a much better welder than I had, and a pretty nice upgrade. And I even upgraded my welding hood as well. And I need to do a video on this. I'm very impressed with it. It's got true color viewfinder here, or whatever you want to call the lens, true color lens. So that when I'm looking through this, it's like looking through HD compared to other auto darkening or fixed shade hoods that I've used in the past. You can see every bit of detail through this until you strike the arc, and then it goes into, the shading, which is just fine. But just a really high quality helmet, especially considering the price. I think I paid $35, maybe $40 for this on Amazon. So I'm very happy with that. So overall, just a generally nice little upgrade on my welding outfit here. And I've still got the buzz box, over there next to the blast cabinet, an AC/DC Lincoln Tombstone. If I need to get into some, heavier welding. But for general day-to-day stuff and little projects, this really fits the bill quite nicely. And, for less than a couple $100, by the time I got the extension cord, the welder itself, the hood, I'm pretty happy with it. So that's a nice little shop upgrade. I'd like to eventually build a nice welding table. I've got some plans kind of coming together for that. Not sure quite which direction I'll go with that, but that'll be a while, as it'll probably cost me well over $1,000 by the time I just get the steel for it. And, casters and clamps and little other things. They're not cheap, even if you build them yourself. So that'll be a later project, but just having the welder is quite an upgrade. Now, one other upgrade I'll quickly mention, actually my favorite here recently, is got heat in the shop. And that's something that I've been wanting and needing for some time now. I've kind of just been getting by over the years. And in fact, during the winter months, I very often, and here it is kicking on right now, but during the winter months, I very often just kind of dial it back and really don't even want to come out into the shop. It gets so cold out here. I've ran torpedo heaters, propane heaters, oil radiators, space heaters, any number of different options out here just to try to take the edge off of the cold and make it bearable. And, you know, they each have their place. They get the job done, but nothing's ever going to beat a dedicated gas heater. This one's 60,000 BTU ceiling mounted unit. And in my opinion, it's just perfect for this shop. It's got a nice strong blower on it. And you can actually see now that it kicked on. I mean, you can see the air blowing past that fly strip there in the middle of the shop. It's just been doing a great job of keeping my garage comfortable. I've got it set to about 65 right now. And, you know, even with this hoodie on, I could probably take that off. I'm starting to get a little warm just standing here, but very happy with it. It was a little time, a little effort, but well worth it. I got a great deal on the heater itself, $100 on Facebook Marketplace for what appears to be in really good shape. It actually came out of Notre Dame University, from what I'm told. If any of you guys are football fans, you may be familiar with the Fighting Irish. It came out of their painting department, from what I'm told. So I'm going to be putting it to good use. And my favorite part of this upgrade, I'll go ahead and mention, is over here, and that's the thermostat of all things. And I've actually got one just like this in my house that I've used for a number of years now and been very happy with. It's called a Sensi, S-E-N-S-I thermostat by Emerson. And they're a little bit pricey, but still much more reasonable than, say, a Nest or some of those touchscreen smart thermostats. But it basically serves the same function. It's Wi-Fi controllable. I've got an app on my phone. I can open it up. And, you know, say I'm leaving work for the day. I got about a 45-minute, hour-long drive. I can check how warm my shop is. I'm probably going to leave it around 50, you know, when I'm not in here. I can dial it up to, say, 60, 65, and actually have it heating up the shop while I'm driving home. Have it nice and toasty and ready to go for getting some work done. And it actually warms up pretty quick in here. I've got a pretty well insulated shop, so it's nice. You know, even just being in the house, you know, if I'm getting up for the day, if I'm on my day off, you know, as I'm rolling out of bed, I can dial up that thermostat, have it heating up while I'm making coffee or eating breakfast, and just really have things nice and comfortable for getting some work done. And it goes a long way for motivating to you know, get out here and work when I don't have to worry about my fingers going numb or my feet hurting, and you know, actually trying to get some stuff done. So a very long needed and wanted upgrade that I couldn't be happier with. We'll see how more expensive the gas bill is at the end of the month, but it shouldn't be too terrible, as this garage holds heat pretty well. You know, if I leave it around 50, it doesn't kick on too often. So we'll see how that goes. Now in the summertime, I do have this set up to where I can still run the fan by itself, but I'm actually going to be installing, I think, a window unit. I've got one of those that my mom recently gave me. She was getting rid of. That should just perfectly fit in one of my exterior windows over here. Those are right at the width of that window unit, though they are casement, so I'm actually going to have to take the casement window completely out and maybe put a piece of acrylic or plexiglass, you know, from the top of the unit to the top of the window, or I may just put a piece of plywood and block it off. I don't really use those for a whole lot of light anyway, and that will allow me to cool the shop down during the summer, you know, when I'm not needing that furnace anymore. So I'm excited to, you know, finally have some climate control in here for making things a little bit more comfortable and you know, easy to work with. So we'll see how that goes. I got a few months to start worrying about that, and you know, already that thing's hit temp again and cut off. So it's working out really nicely. As far as other projects, you know, I'm working on some kitchen knives. I'm going to try my hand at some Hamones. I got some ferric chloride recently. Whole gallon of stuff, which I'm going to dilute probably at least 3 to 1, if not more, for etching some hemones or hormones, however you say that. A couple little paring knives I'm working on. This one I actually tried with a vinegar etch. You can faintly see the temper line there, but it could be a lot better. I got to clean up the plunges a little bit too. But a few new designs there I've been working on. 8-inch chef knife, still got to clean up. K-tip style cleaver. And you know, quite a few knives in progress there. Still working on some slip joints, shop knives. And for right now, actually, as soon as I cut this update off, I'm going to start straightening up the shop again. You know, putting in this heater, I had all kinds of tools and materials and things out. I've had some other projects and things going on that have just been really cluttering up the shop. So I'm going to get back into cleaning mode, get everything nice and set up and organized. And like I said, now that I have a comfortable shop to work in, that I can just come out here in regular clothes and jump into things, I'm just going to really be trying to put the nose to the grindstone, or the grinding wheel as it were, and see if I can't start making some progress. And like I say, the updates, they will be probably a little bit fewer and farther between, and I may even wait until projects are actually completed to start filming some of those, instead of just going over the same old every time. So we'll see how that goes, but appreciate you guys for tuning in and kind of catching up with me a little bit. Still plenty of other projects in the works, and you know, little things here and there that I've been working on that I haven't even mentioned yet, but I'm sure we'll get around to them. You know, follow my Instagram if you want a little bit more insight from time to time. But for now, let's work on getting this place cleaned up and see if we can't get some knives pumping out of here pretty soon. So that's it, guys. Hope I didn't ramble too bad. We'll see you on the next one or the next video. I'm going to be uploading at least 1 or 2 little tool recommendations here pretty soon as well. So keep an eye out for those. And like always, we'll see you on the next one.